Welcome to another evening with Mazza, with the one and only Stephen Cree. If you don't know Stephen's work, you should do, because he's in shows like Outlander for Amazon. He was in Brotherhood with me. He was in Sky's hit show Cobra. He's done a load of work consistently. He's been working, and tonight we're going to just chat all things his career and and just talk about his journey. He's also been writing. He wrote a short film that I directed a little while ago, and it was sort of his first journey into writing. It was my first journey into directing, so we're going to talk about that. And hello everyone joining in. Yes, Jack mate is in the house. He wasn't the waiter in Brotherhood, mate, that was you. And to be honest, buddy, people still talk about that iconic moment from that movie. And so to be honest, no one will ever top that. Stephen is in the house and we are going to get him joining in any minute now. Very good. Hello everyone joining in. Lovely to see you all. Hello mate.
Yo, here I am.
He's in. You've done it. You've already passed the first. You've already passed the first test, mate. This is a beautiful thing.
This is let's just hold on a minute. Yeah, it's all right, isn't it? It's not bad.
I've got to be honest, mate. It's doing it for me. I'll be honest. I mean, this is, it's a PG show, but mate, you look gorgeous.
It's the most important thing. I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you? Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too, mate. Yeah, I'm all right. Mate. I'm all right. I'm not bad at all, buddy. It's obviously a mad time at the minute. Everyone's, it's just crazy. But so the world, I feel strange about the whole thing. But obviously, I want to try and keep tonight as positive as possible. I appreciate you joining us, mate.
Not at all. Pleasure.
And I know you've seen a couple of these, but obviously, like you, I'm sure I get loads of people messaging me all the time about career advice and how do I get into acting and writing and directing and stuff. And obviously, this was me sort of saying, well, actually, rather than just listen to me, but I'll let you get people that have had great careers and doing interesting things and get their perspective on it. So cheers, mate. So look, I think if we just start at the beginning and just let me know, sort of, I'd love to know, because I don't even know this, what made you want to start acting, and sort of how did you start? What was the sort of first thing into it?
I'll tell you what, first thing I ever did, which was like as an acting thing, was when I was about 10 or 11 years old and I was at primary school. But what do you call primary school down in England?
Primary school?
Yeah, primary school, that's right. But you have different grades. That's it. I was in primary 6 or something. You've got different grades down here. Anyway, and they did like a little excerpt thing from Oliver Twist, and I got cast as Oliver Twist. And I remember being on stage and just kind of like enjoying
Oliver Twist, like the sweet innocent. I thought you were like the Dodger.
Nah, mate, I was very sweet and innocent. I had curly blonde hair.
Yeah.
A little angelic voice.
Where did it all go wrong, buddy?
Where did it all go wrong?
So sorry, how so you were like, this is young. You're like,
I was like about 10. I was about 9 or 10. But like already at that point, there was something. Like when I was a kid, when my mum's friends used to come round and stuff, I used to love putting on. I was obsessed, as a lot of kids were at that in the 80s. I was obsessed with Michael Jackson, and so like when my mum's friends would come round, sometimes I'd slam his music on, and I had like a wee glove and a hat, and I'd do little Michael Jackson routines. I don't think I was very good, but there was clearly just like a kind of showing off or performing element there, like quite early on.
I mean, I know this, but you've got a good voice.
I can sing, yeah, I can sing. I mean, I've done a couple of musicals, West End, London. I can sing. I'm all right.
No, mate, 100%. But we can get onto that. But yeah, so that was the sort of start of it. So you just from a young age, you just knew that like you were creative.
Yeah, I don't
loved attention.
You know what? Yeah, I mean that's got to be a big bit of it, surely. I mean, you can't speak for all actors, but there's got to be something about wanting the applause, because like at that 9 or 10, you're on stage and you're getting applauded by everyone and you're getting all the attention, and you either like that or you don't. And I'm sure that's not why everyone becomes actors and stuff, but there's probably a lot of other deep-rooted, fucked up reasons there as well. But then I had my older brother was into the school shows and stuff, and I kind of followed him a little bit. And then when I was at secondary school, I was very lucky, as I think, everyone in life will have, you know, not everyone, but a lot of people will have stories about a teacher or somebody when they were younger, a youth worker or somebody that really inspired them. And we were lucky enough at my school at the Grange Academy in Kilmarnock. We had a phenomenal music teacher called Fiona McKenzie, who I'm still friendly with to this day,
Oh,
who was
amazing.
just like, you know, like like Goodwill Hunting type teacher, just totally inspirational. I think if it hadn't been for her and it hadn't been for the shows that we put on and the encouragement she gave me, I don't know if I would have ended up doing it because I never went to youth theatre or anything like that. I didn't. I actually, mate, when I didn't even realise that those things existed. Really, you know, did you ever do NYT or anything like that? Or I mean,
No,
I'd never heard of them.
no, no. I mean, similar to you, my parents didn't have a clue, still don't really about this industry, and but I was lucky that I got put into like a little Saturday drama club just because I was a lunatic and so much energy, and my parents were like, we need to put him somewhere.
You
Uh,
had so much energy.
I know that's such a surprise. Everyone's like, really? So that was sort of my way in. But it's interesting what you said actually. It's amazing the effect that one person, one individual can have on you. And obviously, I think, like you say, a lot of people have those stories where that one teacher or that one, like you say, youth worker, and it was
Mm.
amazing. You think, well, what would I have done if I didn't have that person encouraging me, pushing me on to go, look, you can do this. So that was sort of that was so what, and then what happened after that point? Did you go
So
to drama school? Or?
yeah, well, I went to I still didn't like I didn't really know what it was. Similar, nobody in my family was an actor. I didn't know what it meant to be an actor. And at that point, it was musicals I was obsessed with musicals. Like the reason I really, really, really wanted it was because when I was 13, I saw Jesus Christ Superstar, the film, and I became obsessed. I mean, mate, I watched that musical literally hundreds of times. I'd be standing in my living room singing along to the songs and stuff. And actually, I went through a very kind of a phase as well of becoming quite obsessed, not obsessed, but very interested in religion. And we never like I went to church sometimes and stuff, but we were never like a religious family per se. But I kind of was really interested in the idea of just like Christianity in all religions, and I was quite
And that
interested in
was
that at
just
school as
purely
well.
purely because that film was so inspiring that it just
Y-
sparked all these sort of
Yeah, completely. I think I just became more interested in the story of Jesus and stuff, but then just that led on to other religions as well, and I kind of toyed with the idea. I thought about studying. Oh God, what is it you study when you go and?
RE,
Well,
religious education.
yeah, I did religious education at school, but what the hell is the when it's just, I've suddenly forgotten the word. Is anyone watching this? If they
Can
can
help.
tell us,
Please
uh,
jump in. Can I
when you
just
go
say,
and
I've got to say,
study. Anyway,
you're such an international man, mate, of mystery that we've been great, review.
theology. Thank you, Shoe Addict 1998.
You legend. But I've got to say, there's some people all over, and they're not my fans, buddy. So we've got Austria, America. I mean, literally France. Just so many people. This is beautiful. This is a great thing.
It's it's
Barcelona. Um,
it's
yeah,
it's. I mean, I can only gander a guess that it's Outlander. Uh, you never know, but.
or
Um,
all of those fans from The Little Princess.
Oh, the
So
Little Princess. I'm here, mate. I'm sure there's a lot of them on there as
yeah.
well, without a doubt.
So two things there that you said of very interesting is obviously like you say that individual, but also those projects, those movies, those TV shows that inspired you. You had Jesus Christ Superstar. I remember actually weirdly having a similar thing with the musical Oliver. I just watched that
Oh
again
wow.
and again. I remember it
Yeah.
on VHS. We definitely share a love of musicals,
Yeah, yeah,
which often surprises people when I mention it. They're like, "You like
yeah.
musicals?" I'm like, "Mate, I love them."
Mate,
Um,
when I went to drama school, I got slagged for liking musicals. Like at drama school, because everyone was, yeah, it was kind of even at drama school, there was this kind of weird snobbery or sort of like, you like musicals? Really weird. But I'd still, to this day, I would still, when I'm going to the theatre, I would rather go and see a musical over a straight play any day of the week.
Me
Still.
too. Do you know what's interesting though is that people that are maybe not in this industry won't be aware, but there is still to this day. I think it has changed a bit, definitely, but still to this day there is still a bit of a snobbery about musicals, a sort of a look
Totally.
down upon. Yeah, which is weird because literally, like you say, musical. I just think some of the storytelling in those shows are amazing. The music's just insane, and some of the performers. And again, look, there are naff musicals, but then there are also terrible
Yeah,
plays.
yeah,
So, but
totally.
but yeah, I'm a I love musical fan all day long.
Yeah.
So you went to drama school. How did that
Yeah,
come
so
about?
well, I wanted to, at that stage, I thought, as I said, I thought I want to go and do musicals. I didn't really know. I think I'd seen one play. I think maybe when I was 16 or 17, I saw The Glass Menagerie, which I loved. But I still was far more into musicals, but I didn't know how to go about it. Like I was looking at the places in London, like Mount View, Guildford, whatever else, and the fees were all astronomical. I don't know, it was like 20 grand or like 28,000 a year or something. And certainly do not come from the sort of background that could have afforded any fees, let alone 20,000 or 28,000 pounds a year. Um, and I didn't really know how to go about funding or anything. And so I basically fell into a college course in Glasgow at Langside College doing theatre arts for a year. Um, and kind of like, you know, to cut a long story short, I still didn't really know what I was doing. And then everyone from that college was auditioning for the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama, which to this point, at that point, I'd still never even heard of. I mean, I look back and think, what was I doing? I just had my eyes so closed. But I think I was scared to commit to it as well because I didn't really, really know what it was to be an actor. And at the last second, I was like, oh, I'll audition for this course as well. And because I was such a joker and such a kind of piss taker, even at college, people were like, "You'll never get into drama school, mate." Like, I think I don't think anyone thought I was taking it seriously, including the teachers, apart from one. But anyway, I auditioned and I got in, and
Of course, he bloody did.
you
Just had
know,
to, yeah. You
it
could
was,
see
but
you could see the talent emitting off you as you
yeah,
walked in the room, buddy.
clearly they were like, this guy's getting in, and then some. But I had that, I had that belief. I look back and I was really like, well, why wouldn't I get in? And then when I was at drama school, I was like, why wouldn't I come out and just be an immediate success?
I'd love to
Which,
talk. I'd love to talk about that, then, buddy. Is that in terms of because that's come up actually a few times in terms of just belief, and obviously I know a lot of people sometimes struggle with that. Where do you think your belief came from? Where did you just sort of go, do you know what, I'm confident being me and I believe in this and I think I can achieve it?
I think, probably, uh, one, I didn't have a, I didn't have a fucking clue what the acting world was. I didn't know what it entailed. And so when I was 16 or 17, I was a lead in my school shows and people were saying, "You're brilliant, you're great, you should do this." So you're like, okay, well, I must be pretty good. And then I went to college and people weren't really saying that, but I just thought, well, I know that I'm good anyway, so I can do this. And then I got into drama school and I was like, God, I didn't even really try and I still got in. And then at drama school, I did okay at drama school. Like, I don't think I was, certainly not to my face anyway. I was never tipped for big things or anything like that, but I always did okay. I worked kind of hardish. Um, but I just thought, whether it was complete arrogance or naivety, probably a lot of naivety because I didn't know, I just thought, well, why wouldn't I leave and just be as successful as Ewan McGregor or something? Because the thing that I didn't have any concept of, and this is probably, maybe it's changed now because the world has changed and social media and everything as well. But at that point, I thought acting was like being a movie star. I didn't know about being a jobbing actor, getting an episode of something. It was just like be the lead movie star or nothing. And and I left, and that was not my story, or clearly wasn't,
Yeah.
at
So when
all.
you left, did you have an agent when you left?
So I left, and I was actually telling this story to somebody the other day. But you do a showcase when you leave drama school, and like a graduation show where all the agents get invited. And the year before me, a couple of the actors have done fantastically well. They'd like, you heard stories about like the 20 or 25 agents that had approached them and stuff. So when we did our showcase the next year, I was like, I guess that'll probably be me then. I'll get all the agents as well. And I got quite a lot of interest in Scotland actually. Like in my third year at drama school, I'd gone out for a couple of months to do a pantomime and then I'd left for a couple of months to do a kids' TV series. So in my head, I was like, well, I'm already doing well and I haven't even left drama school. And then we did the showcase in London and I went out the night before it and got hammered, lost my phone, and
Stephen
I
Cree.
know, I know. That's why I stopped that. Lost my phone, and so when you had to program the next day for the agents, to like see who you were, they had to put a wee inlay bit in mine and say like, if you want to get a hold of Stephen, phone the Royal Scottish Academy, and then they'll pass on the message. So they uh I like did the show and stuff and then finished the show and about an hour later some people in the class are getting phone calls from agents and I'm thinking I'll go and phone the academy and there'll be like about 15 or 20 calls. Phone the academy. I was like, hi, any calls yet? And they were like, no, 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 no,
Oh,
not yet, Stephen.
oh,
And I was like, right, okay. So I phoned the next morning and they were like, nothing. And I phoned in the afternoon. Then one agent, Vivian Wild, who actually like was a pretty good agency, had called and were interested, and I went along and met them, and then they offered me representation. But that was like for me, this was the beginning of a long lesson, and like kind of gaining humility, and my journey was not going to be the journey, the grandiose fucking instant hitting the heights type thing, and I'm now looking back very, very, very grateful for that.
yeah.
I wasn't at the time. It was kind of like devastating at the time. And then, I spent a lot of, the next 5 years largely, completely unemployed as an actor most of the time.
Wow.
But for me, that taught me. I remember going back to my drama school a few years ago and doing a talk in third year to the third years, sorry, who were about to graduate, and I was saying like, those 5 years of not working much made me realize even more how much I wanted to do it. I know some people that, sorry.
No, I just was fascinated. So in those 5 years, was that because you just wasn't getting the opportunities, or you just one of those things where you just wasn't landing the roles, or was it a mixture of all of those things?
There was a total mixture of like I didn't, I wasn't getting many opportunities, but like when I moved down to London after I left drama school, I started working in bars and bars and restaurants, and just got into a total partying lifestyle where like every night, basically, I was out getting hammered and partying every night. So I wasn't taking care of myself for a start. So when opportunities were coming, I was never preparing well enough or never like, and I think up to that point in my life, I'd managed to get past a lot of the time by the seat of my pants or without having to put in too much work. But that wasn't, it wasn't happening for me. My confidence went very quickly. So within a few months of being out of drama school, I went from thinking I'm going to go out and just like smash this to I don't know what I'm fucking doing. I've totally I felt lost and very quickly down in London as well. I moved from a little town in Scotland down to London. I just started feeling really lonely and lost and depressed a lot of the time. And so you're going into auditions. I would then get an audition for something good every now and again, but I would go into that room thinking, I'm never going to get this. I am never going to get this. And you'd maybe see somebody that you knew going into the room before you or whatever, or you'd hear of other people going for it, and I'd be like, well, they're never going to cast me over him. And that the belief it just drained out of me. So I would be in rooms almost apologizing, for
Wow.
myself being in there, or go the opposite way and be too much,
Yeah.
go in and be too, and yeah, and it just became like a kind of vicious circle. And as I say, my lifestyle just got completely and utterly out of control as well. And some people can have an absolutely mental, crazy partying lifestyle, and it all still happens for them. So it's not just to do with that, but for me, it affected me um, on like quite a deep level as well. And it was like
I mean, I
uh,
think. I think there are a few, but there are very few who can do that, who can live the party lifestyle or not put the work in and still really deliver. There's the odd one or two, but I think when I look at the very very top people that I've worked with, you know, big sort of Hollywood stars, I've seen it firsthand, the level of work they're putting in. You know, I know, you know, James, I remember I did a little bit in a movie called Welcome to the Punch, and I was very friendly with the director, and I was doing a costume fitting, and they were sort of in a room, sort of having a one-on-one. Knew the director, called me in, and had every scene that James was in on the wall, and the director was like, "Oh, just sit down and, you know, just chill." And I got to watch him for like an hour and a half, and this was years ago, so I was still relatively new in the industry. And just seeing James, the level of detail, the level of work, and he was a Hollywood movie star by that point,
Yeah,
and you could just see there's a reason why those guys are delivering, and I say it's because you've got to put the work in, and obviously it sounds like, as I'm sure that was tough and you didn't want it to go that way, but you almost needed that to go, well, actually, if I'm going to crack on, I've got to put the work in and I've got to start taking this seriously.
totally. 100%. And that was, you know, I think like when I was 26, I was like, you know, I'd been down in London for 5 years, and I was just like, right, I need to fucking change my attitude. I need to, you know, I need to stop. You know, because you get into like, you can become very bitter and toxic and twisted as well, and being like, why is this not happening for me? You know, why is it happening for them? What, you know, and getting a bit, you know, yeah, just not getting very, being very unhealthy about it as well, and blaming things. Oh, it's because of my agent. You know, it's because of this. It's because of that. It's, you know, if I just had this chance, if I just had this chance. But then it was like, okay, even when you do get the chances, you've got to go in there and give yourself the best shot to do it. And I just started to realize I need to prepare as well as I can. I need to be off book all the time. I need to learn the lines backwards. You know, I need to know what I'm going in and doing, and also go in, you know, feeling good about myself as well. Not going in being this kind of shambolic, nervous, you know, neurotic wreck, which in my mid 20s, you know, I totally was. And
Can you
then
remember? Was there like a role or a moment or an audition that you was like, oh, that was a bit of a change. Like I got that, and that really sparked the next phase, or that was the opportunity that I was like, okay, this is the moment.
when I was 20, like actually just not long before I turned 26, and I started kind of like focusing a bit and stuff. I got an episode of Holby City. My character in it was known as the perfect boyfriend. Uh, and
Just how true that
how,
seems to be.
how true. And then, so that was like at that point, that was so 2006, and I hadn't done a TV job since 2001. And in 2001, it was a kids' TV thing. Or no, or 2002, I think I did Doctor, sorry. And then a couple of months after getting Holby City, I remember getting an episode of Silent Witness, playing like a journalist. It had about 3 or 4 scenes in it. I remember when my agent called me and told me, like, I got off the phone and I was crying. I was
Wow.
just, because at that point, you know, I was like 14, 15 years ago. Silent Witness is still a big show, but at that point for me, getting a few scenes in an episode of Silent Witness just represented like so much.
It's a
And
big
I
seal of
was,
approval. Like, okay, I'm actually all right.
yeah, completely. And I was just like, and, you know, also as well, it's like, it's hard getting, you know, it's like the goalposts change, and now I aim for different things and kind of, you know, more substantial parts and da 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 da. But at that point, it was like I was just so. I'm still grateful to get work, but I was so grateful for it. And I remember, yeah, that was a big sort of like, okay, you know, that had been like 5 or 6 months where I'd really changed my lifestyle and adjusted my attitude to stuff, and better things had been happening, and it was like, right, well, it doesn't take a rocket science to work out that for me to try and have the life I want to have, and if I'm going to succeed in this business, I need to be more focused, and I can't, you know, um, I can't even, you know, I had to cut out the partying and stuff altogether, and you know,
Yeah, I think.
that worked for me.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
I say cut out the partying, I mean like I still went, I still socialised and went to parties. I mean, like cut out the drinking and, you know, all the bollocks that comes with that.
yeah, exactly. And knowing when to, okay, I've got a meeting tomorrow, so I'm not out tonight. Uh,
Yeah,
and if you're off for the weekend, great. But it's just finding that that balance. But I think a lot of what you're saying makes sense because when I was thinking about this, I thought, just have a little look back at your journey and stuff. And what I think is a really good lesson to a lot of aspiring actors or actors that are just starting their journey is that there is rarely, very, very rarely, that sort of overnight success where you come out of drama school and you do land that Hollywood gig. That is like one in a million. But what you are a brilliant example of is someone that, for me, say, not knowing that sort of bit part each time, is someone that is just consistently delivered on every opportunity given. So it doesn't matter whether you say it's four scenes in Silent Witness, or you're popping up in this movie, or you're doing that TV show. It's like you've consistently delivered, consistently been good, which is now led up to the last sort of 2 or 3 years which you've had, which has been exceptional. And for me as an outsider, that's just hopefully that's just going to continue and grow even more. But what that has been
cheers, man.
is consistently putting in the work, and it makes sense with your journeys. That because I was going to ask you, well, where did that mentality come from? That you just continue just to deliver and deliver, and I'm assuming there were moments of frustration. What were there moments of, again, once you got off that initial phase? Was there
Yeah.
another time where you're like, well, look, now I'm looking for something more, or
Oh, totally. Like after I remember that, so that was like 2006, and I can remember it all like very clearly then because it was almost like, um, oh God, man, without being too wanky, but it was like a real new chapter in my life, and my lifestyle had changed so dramatically and stuff, and it was a barometer of how things were going. And then I then after that spell, probably not long after Silent Witness, actually, I was working in a restaurant. Like I was working Carluccio's, which I think I hear sadly is going into administration actually.
yeah,
And I worked in Carluccio's. This was my second stint in Carluccio's. I actually kind of got fired from my first place at it for drink related incidents. And when I went back to ask for a job again, they were like, no chance. And I was like, listen, I've changed. I'm, I'll be
I'm a new
better this
man.
time.
Look at me.
And so they gave me a job back as a waiter, and I was back there for I don't know, like seven months or something. And I was getting I would get a couple of little acting jobs like for a days or something. But yeah, I was like then I was kind of getting a bit like, oh man, this is still tough. I'm now like 27 and a half, and I still had never got a job that that I felt really validated me, or that felt like I could show what I could maybe do. Um, and then I was trying to get a new agent. I was with an agency at that point who were a lovely agency, but you know what the business is like. You need to open certain doors. You need to be with certain agencies or certain agents. That are going to get those doors open for you. And I managed to. I got knocked back by. I mean, I've been knocked back by. I mean, I think probably most agencies in London more than once. The
Everyone,
agent,
they've all
the,
knocked me back.
they have the agency I'm with now knocked me back twice before I got taken on
Wow.
by my current agent Greg, and over the years. And so a big thing that's if for me it is resilience. It's just keeping going, keeping going, keeping going, keeping going. Like one door closes, another door opens, and you have to kind of believe that, whether or not it's bullshit. You just have to believe it and keep going. And because it was my experience. And Ken McCready, who very, very sadly passed away a few weeks ago, took me on in 2007. And it was like, I was like, I just need someone to take a chance on me. I'm sure I can do more. He took a punt and he said, I'll give you a 3-month trial. And I was like, okay. And
No pressure. No
I
pressure.
know,
Just 3 months.
I know. And I was like, oh my God. But at that point, it was like, I'd been turned down by so many people. I was just like, yes, I'll take this. And because I still had that, I still had like, even though my confidence was like variable, I still had this sort of like, I think I can do more than I've been given the chance to do. And so, the second edition I got was for Cabaret, the musical, and it was in the West End.
Love
And now,
that.
by this point, I had auditioned for musicals over the years and got nowhere. Because also, what I discovered when I came down, I was a good enough singer, but I was never ever 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 keeping it up. I was never practicing. I was never going to singing lessons. Couldn't really afford to. or I justified I would spend it on, booze instead. And so I was auditioning for Phantom of the Opera and stuff, and just like I was so fucking far away from the standard. So when this audition came in for Cabaret, I was like, "There's not a chance I'm going to get this." And I was like, "God, this is, I feel like the pressure now." And I looked up who was playing the part because it was to take over. So it had been on for a year. It was Anna Maxwell Martin that was doing it at that point, and the guy who
Wow.
was playing the part I got was an American actor called Michael Hayden, who had been a big musical theatre hero of mine in the 90s. He did Carousel on Broadway and at the National Theatre. I think he got Olivier and Tony nominated. And
So no pressure.
yeah, I was like, not a chance are they going to hire me, who's done nothing. And auditioned. It was Rufus Norris, who's now the artistic director at the National. I auditioned, I got a recall, and I got offered the part. And that was like,
Unbelievable.
that was when they phoned me, when I got the phone call on the Saturday morning to say you've got the part. I just actually I can actually still feel it. I burst into tears.
Wow.
Wow, I actually still fucking totally, not often that happens to me. And I phoned my mum, and my mum burst into tears because it was
Yeah.
just like, a pit, what it's like with your parents as well. All my mum had been hearing like for years was, like just like, heartache and dismay and despair, and with all the other stuff on top of that, she was just always worried. And so it was like, and that had been my dream, to play a lead part in a musical in the West End. And it was just like everything kind of flooding in of like, God, and
Yeah.
like you've made it in terms of that was my dream as a kid. Like if nothing else ever happened again after that, I got that. And even with that, because I was so unknown, and had done nothing, Bill Kenwright took a bit of convincing and was like, right, we'll give him like a 6 week. Everyone else got a year contract. I got a 6 week contract or something
You're
just to see.
joking.
No, no, no. Which I,
What?
I was
That's
like,
unbelievable.
I know, I know. I
Talk
don't
about
really
pressure.
know. I don't
You
really
got
know how
three
he would
months
have
with your
done that.
agent. You got 6 weeks in this show.
And but at that stage, I was just like, and
Yeah.
Julian Clary got cast as the MC. Amy Nuttall got cast as Sally Bowles, and I was like, fucking hell, man! I'm working with these people I've been seeing on the TV and stuff for years. And like, I think that after the first or the second night, Bill Kenwright phoned my agent and was like, "Yeah, sign him up like for a year." He was obviously
Amazing.
very happy, and that was. I mean, I don't think, to be honest, mate, no matter whatever happens in my career, nothing will top that phone call, like ever.
Yeah.
That was the moment where I thought as well, and then doing that job where I was like, right, I think I can do this as a profession. I think I can actually. I think I can make a living out of it. And that's the fucking mate. If you can make a living from acting, that's a big, 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 big success because it's not
I think
easy.
that's yeah. I think that for me is success in this industry. If you can survive, really, if you can live and you can earn enough money to pay your bills in this career, you're doing well because that's how challenging it is. So I always say to people, that should be the benchmark of success because just a tough game. But mate, that story is beautiful. I love that. That's just like that's just amazing, amazing, amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
it's for you, for your parents, is your mum and dad just fucking, love hearing that as well. It's like you put
Because
them
also they're
through
worrying
so
about you as
much.
well. They're worrying about you. They're feeling like, is this just going to be a pipe dream? We know it's a difficult industry. We don't understand it. We know you love it, but is it ever going to happen? And you get that, and it's like, when you cracked it, when the parents can validate it because they know the show and they know it's in London, and so
Yeah,
that's just like massive tick. So they go, oh yeah, well if it's legit.
yeah, totally, completely, absolutely, absolutely.
So mate, just a couple of fan ones because obviously they're all going mad. But what's the your sort of best role that you've ever played, or the sort of best character that you've ever played to date?
Whew. I mean, I have to say, like Cliff in Cabaret is a phenomenal, phenomenal part. And interestingly, about that show, as much of a musicals fan as I was, Cabaret, funnily enough, was one that I didn't really know or like. I knew it a bit, but I never really fancied it. So when I auditioned for it, I watched the film the night before, and I was like, "Yeah, it's good," but I'm, still not totally sure. And in the film, Cliff is a great part, but in the film he's English, whereas in the stage version he's American. Michael York played him in the film. And so when I got the part, I got offered the part on the Saturday morning. Rufus Norris was like, "Look, do you want to come and see it this afternoon?" And I was like, I don't know, because I don't want to get too affected by the guy that's playing the part. And he was like, "I think it could be good though. I think it's just to see the journey and da da da." I was like, "Okay, all right, like brilliant." And I went to watch it, and I was like, "Oh my God, he's like in the stage show, the kind of whole, like Sally Bowles is obviously the big singing and dancing, and um, is always thought of as the outright lead, I think, and that's what I thought. And then I watched the stage show, and it was like the stories kind of told through Cliff's eyes the way through. And of course, the backdrop of Cabaret, the uprising of the Nazi Party, and Berlin in the 30s was the party capital of Europe, but against this backdrop of absolute unimaginable horrors that were about to befall Europe. It's a fantastic part, and this guy Cliff, who's coming of age, trying to work out his sexuality. He kind of falls in love with Sally Bowles, but he's attracted to men as well. And in the 30s, it was illegal, so and set against this, and he befriends this guy in the Nazi party as well. So that, I have to say, that was a fantastic, fantastic part. And I haven't done a theatre show since then where I've had such a fantastic or involved part. And much as I actually, over the years now, I do think I prefer filming. There is something about, theatre where you're telling that journey. And mate, I have to say as well, well, maybe you like, no, on you go, on you go.
So, yeah, I just want to talk about, obviously, you've got a very thick Australian accent. I just wanted to, I know obviously that you are incredibly versatile with your accents. So, but when you started off,
not Australian, funnily enough.
Yeah, but was that ever a thing? Like, was you aware, like, oh, I've got a Scottish accent, that's going to affect the roles I play, or did it never really affect you?
Oh no, 100%, totally. It was funny enough, like when I got Cabaret, and I was playing an American in that, I was obviously nervous about it because I was like, God, I need to really nail this. The guy who was American, who was in the part before me, was American, and on the first day of the rehearsals, I'm quite like, you know what I like. I'm very, 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 as clearly on this, I'm very talkative, and I like to be rude, and I swear a lot, and I like to shock and stuff. But actually, at the beginning of jobs, I'm often very quiet when I'm kind of finding the lay of the land, or like a lot of actors, we've all got a bit of shyness in us and stuff sometimes, and or people. And so I hadn't really spoken, and we did the read through, sat and read the whole script. And then I started speaking to Angela Richards, her name was, an amazing actress who played Fraulein Schneider. And she was like, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Scotland." And she was like, "Oh, wow, I thought you were American." And I was like, "Brilliant." It's like, so straight away I was just like, great, gives me the confidence. But Ken McCready, at the time, Ken was very much like, "Darling, I love your Scottish accent, lovely voice, but you have to lose it when you're going into auditions sometimes. I think sometimes you should go in RP and and I was just like, I just can't do that, man. I refuse to do it. But also because I just felt I take my hat off to actors that can do that, but I just felt too embarrassed. And I was like, if they won't hire me, or if they can't see past that, then I'm not going to do it. But actually, probably in hindsight, it's not a bad idea to do that. I kind of think maybe once you get a bit better known and stuff, people will hire you. Maybe anyway, it's a double-edged sword though. You could become well known and then not get hired because of that.
Yes.
But in America, I find, in the times I've spent in LA, if you go into the audition room speaking like this and then produce like a really good American accent, they love that. And they're kind of like, I've always got the impression they think it makes you a better actor because you can do that.
Yes.
But I don't know, maybe there's been times where you walk in, and I speak like this, and then you've got to audition to play RP, for a period piece or a Londoner or something, and they can still hear you because they've just heard you before. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I find people, like you say, more so in this country, definitely like to put you in boxes. I mean, for me, my experience of that is just not even getting the opportunity to audition for those roles because they go, well, Jason's from London, he does the London thing, and that's it. And actually, I'm pretty good with accents. But yes, I think that's a UK thing. So it is a double-edged sword, really. But I also believe in being true to who you are, and and like you say, sometimes you've just got to go. Do you know what? If they can't see that, then whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Take that control back. Um, well, look, I want to talk about. I want to talk about, and I'm aware of the time already. We've been chatting on, but obviously, I'd love to talk about your writing. Obviously, I had the privilege of directing you and your words, and obviously, again, I have a lot of aspiring writers on here. What made you want to start writing? What were the sort of initial challenges, and is there any sort of writing advice that you would pass on? I know there's a lot there, so.
I mean, well, God, I mean, like writing advice, speaking from somebody who's so lazy and such a procrastinator, like just do it. Start just write. I think probably just write and don't judge it. Just get on with it. I get the thing that was like when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, um, and even before that, I used to love writing. I would just write stories just for the fun of it. Um, Funnily enough, if I had assignments from English class, I wouldn't do them because I don't know what was going on in my head, but I was too lazy or something, or too defiant. But I would love to just sit and write my own stories, and then that kind of just disappeared a bit, and I got older and just didn't do that as much anymore. And I'd always wanted to, I've always wanted to write more through my career. And the thing I'd written a couple like comedy things before with a mate. We made a pilot of it actually, um, uh, and I'd had this idea for the Little Princess, rattling about in my head for ages because of an encounter I'd had with my friend and his friend's daughter, and I think actually somebody I knew at the time had just written a short film, and they were like, "Just do it. Why are you still talking about it?" 'Cause this is the thing. This has changed 100% in our industry. 18 or 20 years ago, when I left drama school, I definitely think there was a mentality of you leave drama school, you get an agent, and that's it. Whereas now, it's like you create your own stuff, and people are doing it now. Whereas like 15 or 16 or 17 years ago, I'd meet another actor and they'd be like, "What are you up to right now?" "Oh, I'm just in between jobs, but I'm writing a script." And like nobody would really be writing a script, or it would never get done. But now it's like, yeah, yeah, I'm writing a script and it's been commissioned by MC or whatever. I think people come out of younger actors now have got a much better attitude towards that because you see so many people setting the trend for writing and creating and getting stuff made. Uh, and so I finally got down to writing this short film, and as you know, I had a very laborious process about whether or not I was going to, make it or how to do it, and got tangled up, with you know stuff of just like putting obstacles in the way, and then I was speaking to Noel, wasn't I? And I was chatting to Noel about it, and Noel was like, you know, why don't you send it over? Had you read it at that point?
I don't think so. I think, well, you may have sent it to both me and Noel, but I don't know. I
Yeah,
think I
I
think Noel
think I
probably
sent.
encouraged you. Yeah.
I think either I probably sent it to both you and Noel at the same time, and Noel was just instantly like, "All right, let's do it," because you and Noel are the type of people who say, "Let's do it," and then you get it done. Whereas, there's a lot of people, including myself, who are like, right, cool, yeah, yeah, let's do it. And then it doesn't get done, or it doesn't get done for a long time. You two just get on with it, man. And which, as you know, I'm, full of admiration for you guys for that. And And so you, yeah, you just like you absolutely loved it right from the start,
Yeah,
and
it was just such my sensibility. I just fell in love with it, and it just felt one of those moments that was almost a bit of fate, really, because I'd been thinking sort of for about 3 or 6 months before that I'd love to direct something, but I was also aware because of the producing how difficult it is, and so if you're going to do it, you've got to love it. And then when when you sent this in, I was like, I love this. And then you were crazy enough. I remember suggesting to you, I said, look, I can't remember whether I did it over text because I was scared or whatever, but I was like, look, I just want to throw my hat into the mix to direct. Oh yeah, because we had an
we
amazing story. So
had
we had, yeah,
no, no, on you
we
go.
had, yeah, we had a director on
Yeah.
board,
Hmm.
but he was slowing down our process of sort of saying that we want to get this done. And
Yeah.
again, just one of those beautifully lucky moments for me where I just was like, look, we could wait and wait and wait for 6 months to get this done, or we can find someone else. And I'd love to throw my hat into the mix because I love this and I'd love to do it. And you were like, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it like just worked out so brilliantly. And then um, you suggested that we tried to raise money for it on Kickstarter. And I was like,
Yep.
I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know how it's going to go. And, we put it on Twitter with the, rewards and stuff for various donations, and raised, what was it, like £13,000 in 18 hours or something.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's
And
some
then,
people on here potentially that
oh,
sort of helped us out on that. So
yeah,
to this day, a huge thank you for that. And yeah, that was
oh,
just. I remember that was quite overwhelming. That we didn't know if we were going to raise the money. We hoped we would. We knew it was a really beautiful subject matter. And for anyone wondering, it's virtually impossible to fund short films. So the only way of doing it is really relying on the kindness of others, really. And like you say, we did loads of awards. Loads of your Outlander friends helped us as well. So thank you to them. And yeah, we got that support. And I think I say the people that we spoke to, everyone seemed to enjoy being a part of that process as well.
100%. And I think actually, I think as well, because particularly with the Outlander fan base as well, I mean, look, there were probably some people that donated. There would have been some people that donated that weren't, just Outlander fans, but I think by and large, the majority, absolutely were. And I think the subject matter, because it was not touching on, but, it was around mental health and, a man suffering from, a real depression that, which I was, that's another, I was kind of scared of owning that in a way, and, talking about that's what it's about, and putting that out there as my writing as well, because you kind of worry it's quite exposing, it's vulnerable, what does it say about me or whatever. And actually, I think, as we found in the last 2 or 3 years, mental health awareness, particularly amongst young males, has become such a huge and important topic, in the media, and in conversation now, that it was something that's really struck a chord, I think, with a lot of people. And and it's, the little princess went on to like have another life even after the festivals and stuff, and got used as a video for the Chris Boyd mental health charity. And we did the Sometimes Everyone Needs a Little Princess T-shirt as well, which raised money for the Chris Boyd charity. And it's kind of had this uh, yeah, like extra life off the back of it. And I mean, I don't know about you, maybe, but it's still like it completely and utterly, that, like, alongside Cabaret as well, counts as one of the absolute highlights. I remember rocking up on the first and only day.
I was going to say the first and only day.
The first and only day of filming at the train station. Well, not the disused, but wasn't used on a Sunday, that we'd booked for it. And seeing you and Noel in the morning, and like Noel had turned up first thing in the morning as well, which I was impressed by. And Noel was a producer on it, for anyone that doesn't know, but you don't necessarily always turn up,
Yeah.
don't have to, especially for a short. And he was like, "It's pretty cool, isn't it? This is happening because you wrote it." And obviously Noel having written quite a few feature films. himself, and I was just like, it was just the whole day. It was just such an amazing buzz,
But
and
even the build up that we had, I think
yeah,
for anyone
yeah,
wondering like why was this such a good experience compared to being an Outlander, or not that they weren't good experiences, but the reason why this I think was so good is that it was obviously the first time that you really experienced the whole thing, in terms of
totally,
casting, being involved in all of those creative decisions. That we was almost like, well, we were a partnership on that.
totally,
Um, and then even after the day of shooting, the edit and the score and the
yeah,
credits, all that sort of stuff. And I just think there's a real sense of, well, like you just said, that Noel says, you wrote this and you are the reason that we are here. And without
yeah,
those words and that story, there is no this. So
yeah.
it's a bizarre
And,
but a beautiful feeling.
and like you say, it's a total partnership because I would just, there's every chance, every chance that that would never have got made if hadn't got behind it and been like, come on, let's do this. And that I remember the casting process as well. I remember, like having we got all the little girls to send in tapes, and the girl who got the part, I was like, I remember watching the tapes, and I was like, there were a couple of other little girls. I was like, oh no, I think it's definitely off the tapes. I think it's going to be them. And Noel was like, I think you should get her in anyway and just give her a go. And I was like, oh, all right, okay. And she walked into the room and was
Amazing.
just like amazing, absolutely amazing, and smashed it, and was perfect.
I remember though. Do you remember after an hour on set and with a whole day to go, and she sort of turned around to us and said, "Are we done yet?" I was like, "We've done 2 setups. We've got the whole day to go." But she was no, she was amazing. Though she was
Oh,
amazing.
she did, yeah, she did absolutely fantastically.
She was
But
brilliant.
yeah, no, I remember that.
Yeah. So no, mate, for me as well, that was just that whole thing was a really 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 great experience. For
And
sure.
what I would say then, if anyone like for me, I thought that I cracked the seal of writing. I was like, right, okay, this is it now. I've made something. I've done, we've done it. We've made it. This is and it went really well. Let's crack on now. And then I just haven't. I mean, I wrote a pilot thing for a comedy, Clap Shot, which we've spoken about and stuff. And but then that's and that got some interest. But it's having that. I don't have the same tenacity with writing and creating that I do have with acting for
Which
some
is really
reason.
frustrating for me because I'm desperate to directing something
I
again, and
know,
I'm just like,
I know,
please, Stephen, write.
I know, I
Um,
know. But it will happen. I know that it will happen. It
yeah.
might, I hope I
But what
hope
I
it'll
would
be
say,
worth
what
it.
what I would say is that with writing, especially, they are so emotional bits of work. Even if you're writing a comedy, it's part of you. And I do think, as much as I tease you and push you, and I'd love you to write a lot more, I do think that it's really not a joke writing. It's one of the fields that I respect probably the most because it's just so tough. And so I think if you're going to take your time, if you're going to take your time on anything, writing is the one to do it because when you're going to put that your heart on paper, you want to make sure that you know what it is, that you really believe in what you're telling, and you want to have a reason to say it. And if you're just writing for the sake of it, then you're probably not going to get the same end result.
Hmm. Yep.
So this is me
Yeah.
excusing
Yeah.
you a little bit, buddy. But look,
Cheers.
I know we've been chatting for ages and I've taken up loads of your time. Just a few things to end with, just a few funny ones. So I heard something earlier which I thought was funny was that once you get to the end of lockdown, you're either going to be three things: a hunk, a chunk, or a drunk. What are you going to be, buddy? I'm hoping
What?
it's
Do you know what? Yeah, it's me. It's definitely getting back to hunk.
what's the viewers just
Well,
spike now, buddy? What's that? And anyone watching, just let us know if you're going to come out of this lockdown at hunk, a chunk, or a drunk, or maybe two of the three. Um, and then and then
I'll be a bit between the first and the second.
good man, good man. And then just I always ask people this: what's the first? Who's the first person you think of when you hear the word success?
Michael J. Fox,
Nice.
because of the movie that he did in the 80s, The Secret of My Success. That's just what pops into my head.
And lastly, mate, and this is some people always find this a little challenging. So no pressure. But if you could have a billboard on the motorway and it just said one thing to sort of inspire people, what would you go with?
Oh, hope,
Nice.
hope every time, you know,
Yeah,
which is,
it's so funny. Well, I think the Little Princess does that beautifully. It's something that I really relate to. But bigger than that, I spoke to my dad today, and actually we talked about hope, and it was like I think everyone needs that. We all
mhm.
need that,
Yeah,
and if
yeah.
you haven't got that, I think it's a problem and it creates problems, and I think everyone needs that. So, mate, that's a real beautiful thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm reading a book right now called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, and I've read it before. Actually, I read it a few years ago. But Viktor Frankl was a Jewish psychiatrist who spent 3 or 4 years in Auschwitz, and upon his release, he wrote an account of his time there. Uh, it's an absolutely harrowing and beyond imaginable, you know, horrific read, but also very strangely very inspiring. And one of his conclusions in his time in the camp was that when he noticed his friends or his, fellow inmates around him losing hope, that's when they would kind of drift off and just die. If they weren't being murdered, die of disease or dysentery or whatever. And he really concluded that, hope is the defining thing that we need.
Oh, buddy, I've lost you a bit. I've lost you. Can you still hear me,
Oh,
mate?
yeah,
You got me
yeah, yeah,
back?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm here.
Good
I'm
man.
here.
Good man. Mate, yeah, I mean that just yeah, we all need that. We all need that hope, mate. I should read that book. It sounds amazing. Oh, have you got me, buddy? Have
I
you got
can hear
me?
you actually.
Yeah,
It's broken up a wee bit.
you're back now.
How's
You're back
that?
now. Can you see me? Yeah, I've got you. You got me?
Right. Yeah, yeah, I can see you. Yeah, yep, yep,
Don't
yep, yep,
move.
yep, yep.
Don't
Don't know
move.
what happened there.
Yeah. But listen, Stephen. Look, like
Yeah, it's a great book.
that was amazing, mate. I really appreciate your time, buddy. And I think for everyone, I can see all the comments. I think people love that. So thanks so much, mate. I appreciate it, and we will speak very, very soon.
Nice one. Cheers, buddy. Take it easy.
Cheers, mate. Take care, mate.
Have a nice
Bye,
night.
bye, bye, bye,
Bye
bye,
bye.
bye.